Hi, everybody. Today we're going to talk about pronouns and their antecedents. And antecedent, don't panic. That is just a fancy way of saying the word that the pronoun replaces. Okay. And you don't have a lot that I'm going to do working on this worksheet, but I have some really basic notes put up here because I may talk a lot about some specifics and it can get overwhelming and confusing. But these are going to be your basic rules that you can sort of refer to and look at while I'm talking. Okay. This is a topic where it's especially important so we can apply the rules as we use them in business writing. Often what we hear spoken, and I have no speaking East Texan or Southern is not a mark of lack of intelligence. I hope not, because I have you hear me speaking, a very East Texas accent. But often the words that we speak just when we're speaking to each other, just when we're talking to each other, what we say is incorrect. So you can't always go in any of this by what you're used to hearing, okay? We need to know the rules for when we're doing something professional, okay? Remember that the main purpose of a pronoun is to replace nouns so our speech doesn't sound awkward and redundant. We don't say Tom asked Tom's mom if Tom could drive Tom's car to attend Tom's high school dance, okay? We fill that in with pronouns so that it doesn't sound so awkward, okay? Personal pronouns are the most common type of pronouns. They indicate the person speaking, the person spoken to, or the person or thing that is spoken about. That is a personal pronoun. That's the definition for it right there. And there are three characteristics to understand when using pronouns. And the first one is number. How many people, right, is this pronoun replacing? It refers to whether it is singular or plural. And the rule is that the pronoun must match its antecedent, which again is just the noun or nouns that the pronoun is replacing. If the noun is singular, you need a singular pronoun. If the noun is plural, you need a plural pronoun. You need one to replace one, a singular to replace one person, and you need a plural to replace a list of people. Okay. Gender. There are three basic types of gender pronouns. There's masculine, feminine, and neutral. Okay. Masculine are he, him, is. Feminine is she, her, hers, or neutral. It, its, and they, them. It, its, this is very important. It is used for objects. Okay. Now you might call your car she for like a joke as a funny habit. But if you use a pronoun for a car in business, you need to use it or its, okay? But conversely, never, ever, ever use it, its to refer to a person. That is dehumanizing. It is rude, okay? We do not do that in this class, and I don't like to hear it spoken. We don't use it, its, okay? They, them are used for groups of people and people of unknown gender, as in if a candidate contacts you, have them fill out an application. It's just one person, but we're still using them because we do not know if the candidate will be male or female, okay? And it's smoother than saying have he or she, okay? And we know that they, them are also used for individuals who prefer those as their personal pronoun over the masculine or feminine, in which case we use them as if they are singular. Okay, in case. This shows how the pronouns function grammatically. Okay, whether it is a subject, an object, or showing possession. So we have to look at case a little more in depth. First, there is subjective case. Okay, those are I, he. You can just memorize these lists, maybe the easiest thing to do. I, he, she, they, it, you, we. You can only use these when the pronoun is working as the subject of a sentence clause or as a subject complement. Okay. A subject complement follows a linking verb like is, am, are, was, were. We've learned about those some already, and renames the subject. Okay. For example, the person was she. She is correct because it follows the linking verb was and renames the person. Okay. You can test this by reversing it. She was the person. Now, honestly, we don't really speak or write in that fashion very much these days, but it is correct. Okay. Next, we have objective case pronouns. These are me, him, her, them, it, you, and us, and they function as objects. They can be direct objects receiving a verb's action. The ball hit him, okay? Him is who the ball hit. It is the direct object. Or they can be indirect objects. Sally gave him the money, or the object of a preposition, we discussed it with him. Okay, pay close attention to the prepositions between, like, but, and except. They always require the objective case. Okay, you probably notice that you notice that you is on both lists, right? And that is because you is just you. It doesn't have a pair. There's no he, him, they, them, she, her. You. Unless you're in the South, then it's you, y'all. But we don't write that in business writing, right? Because it's incorrect. That is part of our slang. That is part of our regional vernacular. We use that, okay? But really, you, the word you is singular and plural. It is subjective and objective. So just be sure to make a mental note of that, okay? Be sure that you do that. It's both, okay? Now let's move on to possessive case. Possessive case shows ownership, but here's the difference with pronouns. With pronouns, you never use an apostrophe, okay? Pronouns with apostrophes are actually contractions that represent two words. For example, it's, it apostrophe s, this right here does not mean belonging to it. It means it is. It apostrophe s means it is when you see it written. So you just use its to show possession. That's just a little bit something different about pronouns and possessive case. Just leave the apostrophes off, okay? The dog hurt its paw is just its, no apostrophe, okay? Now we're going to take a quick look at one that none of us ever know how to use, especially speaking in the South, who, whom, okay? The easiest way to remember it is, who is the subjective case? It is used as a subject or subject complement. Whom is the objective case? It is used as a direct object, an indirect object, or an object of a preposition. Again, that's one of those things that you can get the software to notify you, or just look it up every time if you come to a place where you have a question. A good trick to help you remember, I think this is the best trick you can try to use, is use he for who and try to replace it, and use him for whom. And the reason we use the masculine pronouns is not because we're trying to, stick to the patriarchy. It's because him ends with an M, just like whom does. And so that helps you remember how to match them. Okay. And if what you're trying to find out is whether it's he, who, or whom, try substituting he or him and see which one of those would work, because we're more familiar with those. We better understand how to use those. And if it's him that would work the best, then use whom. And if it's he, then use who. Okay. That's just a good little trick to help you with that. Okay. This was a shorter lecture. That is the very basic of the pronouns. There's a lot more in-depth information in your module. If you need further explanation, please do not hesitate to reach out to help me. Good luck with everything in this module, guys. Have a great week.